Hello, everybody. Happy International Men's Day. My name is Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, two-time SEMA, Canadian Ethnic Media Association award winner. And I'd like to say welcome wherever you're watching this live on the replay. We're very happy to have you. It is International Men's Day. And before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to Sivam and his team for making this epic week happen, doing an excellent job. And I know as a producer and host of my own online conversations, it's a lot of work, but he's doing it really good. We're going to spend the next few minutes having a panel discussion in regards to gender relations and spiritual connection. We have some fantastic panelists to share with you this morning. So what we're going to do to start it off, we're going to introduce each person, and in their introduction, they're going to give their opening comments in regards to this subject. So first up, Dr. Kristi Wekerle. Please join us, and good morning. You're on mute.
Okay, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to bring to you some of the research that we have done on male youth. We have a Canadian-funded research team, and we've explored especially males with trauma backgrounds and how better to support these males. Key message that we have found is that we need to allow and support males in their emotion coping in better ways, especially in the time of adolescence. What we have found is that when we ask males about motives for behaviors, like motives for drinking alcohol or motives for sexual risk-taking, the big explanation variable is to cope with negative emotionality. And that really points to our need to start early in education and helping males cope with emotionality. When my son was in grade 1 and he cried about something that was frustrating, a child immediately came up to him and said, "Boys don't cry."
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that's, is in the earliest ages. And then by the time our male youth get to adolescence, they have they feel like they have very limited options to be heard and how to cope with the negative emotions they're feeling.
Thank you so much for that. Looking forward to hearing more from you during the hour. Next up, we have Dr. Reetha Dinesh.
Me, Siva? Yeah. I'm Dr. Reetha Dinesh. I'm a world record holder in life skills and a global goodwill ambassador and, a human rights activist. So this particular, forum, wherein, I think I've got a chance to speak to is mainly because of the reason that, I happen to do UN Generation Equality Survey, wherein we have approached a lot of women and men related to, what exactly is the kind of, reasons they would like to see for women empowerment. So during that time, I have come across, a lot of issues which have not been addressed and which requires a lot of, thinking and a lot of thought process from UN interference even from UN and the world bodies. So I thought like it is important for these issues to be focused by each and every person who are dreaming of a generation equality. For example, we talk about women empowerment, women's group. When are we taking it to men to know that what are the issues, challenges faced by them? These are the questions which have been asked to me when I was doing the survey. So I've just come across certain, survey results, which I'll just put it in, bullet points because I know we all would like to hear the story in short. One is 84.
So,
Yeah.
Reetha,
Yes.
Reetha, we are having a hard time. Your voice is cracking. So can you fix your earphone or?
Sure. I'll do that. You can pass on to the next panelist. I'll
Okay. Yep. Doctor, you can move to next panel and unmute.
Next up, we have Kristi White.
Can everybody hear me okay? I hope so. I'm Kristi
Yes.
White. Good morning, everybody. I'm a children's author from Ontario. I travel all over Canada with our family to all First Nations events. One thing we have realized through Indigenous stuff is after residential school, after the 60s scoop, after now child and care crisis, things like that, one thing we need to bring back to our families is especially communication between men and women and helping men feel established and spiritually connected to our communities. Through residential school, a lot of our men were taught to bottle those emotions. They weren't taught healthy ways on how to communicate or how to really feel connected to their communities when they came home. One of the things we've realized is through children's literature, especially coming from an Indigenous woman's standpoint, is that there is a lot of children's literature that ethnic children can't relate to. One thing we found is that, especially with boys, building those positive role models in literacy, giving them those positive.
Kristi.
Yeah, I think we're having a little bit of a connectivity issue, so I think we'll move on to the next individual.
Yep.
So next up, we have Baldev Mutta.
Good morning, everyone. In terms of the last 45 years that I have been working within the South Asian community, I have come across 4 major issues that men are having difficulty with building healthy relationship, whether it's with their partner, wife, or within their children. One was the ability to find time. The second was the ability to meet. And once they meet, they don't know what to talk. The third one was, do they think that family is important or bringing money is important? So a lot of men, they have very good intentions. They keep on working. They think that by bringing in money, giving children the money, they will be able to build better relationship, but they don't have the vision how to put the family together. And fourth one is, what family values are they imparting to their children, both their boys and their girls, in terms of. So these 4 things, I think we need to really have a discussion today to talk about how do we build healthy relationships within the family in the context of men. Can we suggest them something that they can do a little bit differently? That predominantly many of them are really good men. They wish their families well, but they just don't have the skills to do that. So those are my opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Baldev. Now, you know you're a bad guy because for us to cover all those 4 topics, that's a whole week. You know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I want to set your expectations right, because I do a lot of work, advocacy work with fathers and men. You and I could talk for the rest of 2020 and maybe into all of 2021 on all those conversation topics, but very relevant what you've brought to the table. And finally, we have Jay. Jay, come and join us this morning.
Good morning all. A fantastic meet where we can discuss about the other side of men, which is very important to focus on. I am a corporate trainer with 20+ years of experience, and I have a strong belief that mind and body are the same parts of the system. So if mind gets affected, it affects the body. And in reverse, if body gets affected, it affects the mind. Particularly with men, when men face failures, they start to live in the illusion world of past. And the same men, when they want to achieve success, they again start to live in the illusion world of future. This is where their problems creeping in. And this is what I'm going to discuss, elaborate in the second round. So this is my opening remarks. Thank you.
And Jay, you're another bad guy because men in failure is a whole year conversation, but that's no problem because we're going to put pressure on Sivan to bring us all back and have a longer period of time. Everyone has brought up really relevant conversation topics for today. One thing I will just add with Jay, in the mentorship and helping I do with men and boys, I tell them that failure is a moment. It's not a person.
Yes.
So I just wanted to add that on what the great things you just shared with us. So now we're going to have a little bit open conversation. And when Sivan asked me to host this, I go, could you give me an easier topic, please? And thank you. Like gender relations and spiritual connection. So I'm just going to put the first question out there. And this is for men and boys. And I want everyone who can add in to add in. Can they coexist? Can we have good gender relations and spiritual connection? 2020 has been a crazy year. Can they still exist? What is it possible for them to exist? Who wants to take in that first?
Yeah, can I, Web?
Go ahead, please.
When we say about gender equation and spiritual connect, there are mainly two theories which have been, put forth by everyone. One is nature, N-A-T-U-R-E. Other one is nurture, N-U-R-T-U-R-E. One speaks about difference in religious commitment due to, hormones, genes, or biological prepositions, which we often say that men are bound to look like this, women are like this. So, this is mainly because of hormones, genes, or biological prepositions. Other one talk about nurture. That is the traditional gender roles and, mainly on economic structure, which is, most of the religious gender gap exists in mainly the societies because of these two theories and the perceptions. So I think the coexistence between a man and a woman is 100% possible, because when we talk about issues like, equality, why is even the question of equality coming? Because certain areas, when we send out media messages like by friends, pass this to your mother, sister, daughters, or warn them of the danger, it is very rare to get such messages forward to father, brothers, and sons. Why do you think so? Because we feel like they're already safer, this is just not required. So there are certain only conceptions which needs to be overcome and create awareness about, and after that things will be easier for both the genders to come back and live it together. So you don't need to have any doubt about it. So I think, that is what my point is about.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh. And just for the other panelists, because we do have tight timelines, keep your answers as succinct as possible. I know we could go on forever and a day, but we have a limited amount of time. Who else would like to come in regards to that conversation topic? Can they coexist? Can gender relations, and can it really coexist in the world we're in right now?
Yes, I can.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. No, the body of men and women, that is designed in such a way to coexist only. So it is very much possible, and practically it's happening, that coexistence. That's my answer for your question.
You are short to the point. Fantastic. Anyone else who wants to respond? Because I'd like to get everyone's input on that conversation piece. Go ahead, Kristi.
I would. I absolutely think we are going to definitely move closer to that. For Indigenous people, a lot of our ceremonies and stuff, we have places for men and women to work together. And it seems definitely that once we both can look at equality and look at our own roles and responsibilities, that will definitely bring us closer together to working together.
Fantastic. Who else would want to add in? You can make your answers a little bit longer, folks. I didn't mean to cut it so tight. We got a little bit of time. Go ahead, Dr. Wekerle.
I would just like to echo Kristi's comment that in the Indigenous populations, gender and spirituality is already interconnected, and they're not separate. And there are roles and responsibilities, and I think Western and non-Western populations can really benefit from understanding Indigenous ways of knowing. And I would just like to reinforce that.
Okay. Baldev, I've not heard from you yet. I'm keeping my eye on you.
I just wanted to think that within what is happening now in the world, in terms of the Black Lives Movement, in terms of the struggle to build a better world for all of us, I think the women and men are playing a greater role. And I think to a greater extent, the young people, I'm so much moved by the young people, both boys and girls in high schools, at the university level, talking about climate change, marching, coming out in the streets. I think that yes, in the current 2020 context, I think that both genders are kind of working together, and I'm very optimistic that whatever these gender relations may seem fragmented, I think that through their own struggle they will find a better niche, and something really good will come out of these challenging times. And I'm really optimistic that we will have a better world tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I want to, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit, but so I want to go back a little bit. I want everyone to give their vision. What does healthy gender relations look like? What does it look like?
I think I would take it up first as usual. Can I, Vibe?
Go ahead, please.
Yep. So I would like to tell you that there is no need for women and men to acknowledge the existence of each other, because coexistence as well as gender equality requires concrete actions and equal social rights and responsibilities. So wounds should be healed. You cannot cover it by makeup or anything like that. So like gender equality means coexistence between women and men. It's not a competition. So when it is not a competition, you both have equal existence together, and what you're going to do is like understanding the social responsibilities and rights of each other. This is what my opinion is, and I think this answers this question also.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh. Who else would like to contribute on that? What do healthy gender relations look like? Because we want to give a picture, a vision to the men and those who love them that are watching this live or on the replay. Go ahead, Christine. Okay, you're on mute. Okay. Okay, we're still not hearing you, Christine.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No.
Anyone else want to chime? Oh, hold on. Let's see if we can get her now.
I think
There we go. We got you now.
I think I'm off. Right. Thank you. I'm not in control of my microphone.
No problem.
So one of the areas of research that we work on is adolescent dating violence. And males report as much victimization as do females in adolescence. And what we have come to understand is that the need is not only this sense of equality, but the how to work on conflict and communication in relationships. That there is a tendency to do a tit for tat kind of responding. So if I say something negative, the partner might say something negative, and then it escalates up. So that what we find is a need to really be able to express emotions appropriately, to know when to take breaks and move out of interacting, and the equality and respectful relations is how we would define the skill development that's needed to avoid any kind of violent dynamic in male and female adolescent partnerships.
Okay.
And in Quebec, we have a very strong intervention first aids by Dr. Martine Hibert. And so there are definitely solutions that are able to be put into high schools as part of life skill learning. And I think we have to invest in our adolescents and this life skill learning about how to be in relationships, which isn't something we teach about. And I think it's time that we step in more fully in that prevention mode.
Excellent answer. I think also another thing that's interesting, you mentioned the province of Quebec. The province of Quebec is the only province in Canada that has paternity leave. So that is one thing they've really done advance. And with the work I do with Dove Men Care really advocates paternity leave. And Quebec is the only province in this country that has a real aggressive policy towards paternity leave. Any other of the panelists want to give their vision? What's a good vision of gender relations? Who else would like to add? Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Healthy relationship. That's what you have asked.
Healthy gender relations. What does that look like?
Yeah. The healthy gender relationship normally stays alive because of non-verbal communication, not verbal communication. I strongly believe it's because of the verbal communication all the problems start. So mostly people think something and speak something. Between thinking and transferring it to language, a lot of changes happen. So people, their intent was fantastic, but the way they communicate, they are into trouble. So here, husband thinks something else and speaks something else. The same goes with wife thinking something else and speaking something else. And by statistics, 93% influence comes through non-verbal. Verbal is words are just 7% influence. So a healthy relationship will stay alive if it has more non-verbal communication. So without communicating, understanding the other side. That's what the healthy relationship looks like. That's my view.
Thank you, Jay. Anyone else want to add anything before I move on to another conversation topic? Because you all are just hitting it out of the park.
Yes, I would like to add one more point to Jay. There is no imbalance of power. Okay, in any relationship, that is most needed. There is no imbalance of power, and the partners respect each other's independence and can make their own decisions without, fear of retribution or retaliation, and share decisions. That makes healthy relations. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I want to jump into the area of spiritual connection. And from each of you, how important is the spiritual connection piece in relating to gender relations? One of the things that Kristi brought up about in the Indigenous culture, that's very much an important fact. And I was blessed early before shutdown happened. I spent 4 days up in Yellowknife, and this topic, I can resonate with this topic because I was there. But what impact or how important is spiritual connection to the area of gender relations? Who would like to go first? I'm going to ask Jay to start us. Jay?
I think,
Oh, go ahead.
yes, that's great.
Okay, Jay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, just I said something about this non-verbal. So this non-verbal communication is the area where the spiritual connect happens. Most of the spiritual places where you can see silence as the main behavior they have taken to connect with the other person. So in my view, the spiritual connect between genders, it starts and ends with silence. And I strongly believe the power of non-verbal will make it to the next level. That's my view. I will add more as other panelists.
I'll say so, Jay. Before I move on to another panelist, and I'm going to ask each panelist. My additional part on this is how challenging is that in a world the world I see is becoming less and less spiritual. A lot of when you look at young people, they are being less and less spiritual. So does that add to the challenge of spiritual connection relating to gender relations?
100%. Can I add my
Absolutely,
words here?
you're going to do it. You have your piece. We're going to move on. No problem.
Yeah. So, in my view, this younger generation, it has started to talk with machines. It is not talking to the other person. The younger generation has started to talk to phones, social media. No, they are more towards to the person that is invisible or the person in illusion. So they are actually not talking to people. They are talking to illusioned people, which is available in media. So that's why the spiritual connect in younger generation is very less. This is my view. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to look at that next? The importance of spiritual connection and the challenge with spirituality. Go ahead, Baldev.
I define spirituality a little bit differently. I think that spirituality in isolation from making this place making this world a better place for our coming generation, in the absence of that struggle that human beings go through to make this place a better place, I think spirituality loses its intent. For me, working to eliminate injustices is for me solidarity, is spirituality. If I stand in solidarity with the indigenous people's struggle, if I stand in solidarity with the Black Lives movement, for me, that is spirituality. So for me, I define spirituality that we have to identify the injustices, whether these are injustices against women, whether these are injustices against our planet Earth, or whether these are injustices, and that struggle to make those injustices go away. For me, that brings out the best in humanity. And that's where I think in that struggle, men, women, children, animals, the planet, all of us can unite. And I think that's how I look at spirituality a little bit differently.
Thank you. Who would like to come in next on that? Great comments happening right now. Go ahead, Christine.
Hi, would like to pick up. Thank you. I just would like to pick up on that comment to highlight that it's, there's the very significant social injustice piece, but there's also the resilience piece. And to me, the spirituality includes recognizing the resilience and interconnectedness and interrelationships that build up that resilience. So for I have learned a lot from First Nations of the Grand River peoples and their approaches, and the idea that the earth has its spirituality, the waters have spirituality, and so us as humans, like digging our hands into the earth and moving into the water, enhances our attachment and our positive feelings about the world around us. And it's that resilience of that positive attachment that enhances our willingness to really work on many of these issues: gender inequality, climate justice, with a mind towards, our spirituality extends, kind of forward and backwards in time. So there's like the ancestral piece and support, as well as looking forward to future generations, that our spirituality has to extend to a betterness, a well-being for our future generations. And for those of us who are parents, that we feel that very keenly. It that kind of a spirituality, that interconnectedness across things, is what propels us forward in progress and innovation and coming together.
Thank you. Great response. Great response. Who else would like to come in on that?
Yeah, can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to share what all of them were sharing exactly. But my view is actually been on scientific facts, which has been submitted by Dr. James Dobson, who says in general, men seek adventurous, active, and more concrete expressions of the spirit. In the sense, God made them competitive intuitors of our world. So they often need something more than a quiet, which is like a meditative church experience. So I feel like their relationship with God tends to be more on the go, in the sense short but intense interactions. That is, in a word of idle chit chat or anything like that. They need to have an adventurous side being open when it comes to spiritual connection. But at the same time, women, on the other hand, thrive on the social and spiritual fellowship. That is, their encounter with God are often brought out on a loving, meditative atmosphere. These are the main, thrust through which, if you take, my country like India, wherein, the gender definitions between man and women have always been defined with, such kind of, attributes, which is related to previously also I told you what is a nature theory and what a nurture theory. So I feel like, it is only the kind of behavioral changes which brings in their connection to the spiritual connections. So that's what my point is.
Thank you. Kristi, we haven't heard from you yet. We hope to hear from you now.
Can everybody hear me? I hope.
Yes.
That's the one thing that's really interesting with us as Indigenous people. As Kristi was saying, the whole thing of, getting our children back to land-based learning, getting our families and community back to cultural learnings, those kinds of things. Some of the stuff that was brought up is like our hunt camps. When we go out there, our men are doing those vigorous work and working alongside the women. The women are doing their roles and responsibilities. And a lot of it is just bringing our people anyway back to those roles and responsibilities and understanding the land, the waters, like the birds, ourselves, so that way it makes it easier to communicate between each other. We understand that it's not a competition. That's where we need to bring our children back within our culture and understanding.
Fantastic. This is good. I'm in a very interesting situation. We only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to ask this final conversation piece from all the panelists. I'd like to, we are on International Men's Day. I would like each one of you to, your message for men and those who love them, and what are some next steps that all of us can take to help gender relations and spiritual connection. So I'll just repeat it again. Actually, I'll have you do the next steps first. The next steps that you see that we can all take, easy steps that we can take to improve the situation of gender relations and spiritual connection, and then your message to men and those who love them on International Men's Day. So who would like to go first?
I can start. One of the things we are doing within our own community is COVID has brought out a new kind of a phenomena where men are actively seeking to enhance their relationship. So they are looking for this longing. They are looking for some kind of an avenue where they can enhance their skills. So the men are phoning us. I get angry very quickly. What can I do in my home or where I am that I can look for towards learning how to control my anger? I don't have a good relationship with my son who is 21 years old. I don't know how to communicate. He's on a different wavelength. I'm on a different wavelength. What can I do to build a relationship? So we are seeing an enormous amount of calls from men who are willing now during COVID to do their own self-learning. So I think that we are looking for ways to give them opportunities to improve themselves through self-learning modules rather than teaching them. So that is something that I am recommending. If we can all, in our own unique way, create opportunities for these men to learn on their own. I think that there is a hunger now during COVID pandemic that men want to actually use the time that they have on their hand to do something productive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Who's next? Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No, I would like to suggest few things to men. The first step, 4 steps I would like to say. The first step is the world will be thankless for all your efforts, for all the men effort. The family will be thankless, the relatives, the near and dear, there will be thankless moments always. But proceed still, because that's what a man can do. That's my first step for men. The second step is, as Baldev sir said, COVID has brought a lot of new internal settings change. So from here, it's not about man or men supporting family. It's about men and women. So take the support of women, take the support of family members, and go ahead in facing the challenges of life. The third step is download the experience that's waiting from the elders and the family. So men, if they download huge experience that's waiting from the elders, then I think his journey will be a little more faster and effective. And the fourth and final step, be a sampler or exemplar for the next generation in all possible ways. These are all the 4 steps, ways I can tell to men in this excellent thing. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Who's next? Go ahead, Christine. Oh, you're on mute. Okay. Okay, I think, yeah, we got you now. Great.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'd like to pick on these comments. It's really important that males start off the conversation to the question you asked. What men can do, what are some practical tips and strategies. I'd like to reinforce that I've seen on YouTube, for instance, males having these conversations, especially around sense making, understanding the meaning of things. I've seen on YouTube like a channel like Rebel Wisdom, for instance, for adult males. And I think young males are stepping up and taking action. In the UK, Ben West has a social media format for promoting male mental health and especially suicide prevention. So we need to make those linkages that having something simple like a conversation is so important to allowing other conversations to happen. Males complete suicide at levels of 4+ more times than females. And these are really then, seem like small starter conversations, but they can end up being life and death kind of conversations. That we ask males, how are you doing really? Can we check in? Let's have a conversation. I asked some males recently, could you cry in front of your male friends? And the answer was no. So we need to be able to allow for these, what might be called emergency emotions, to happen. You shouldn't only be able to cry in the shower or when you're alone. So kind of that risk taking, that emotional risk taking is so important to have conversations. How do we express these tender emotions when we're having a hard time? And that, to point towards the solutions. Every male has expertise in what strategies or tips have helped them in the past, and those need to be shared amongst men.
Thank you so much. We have 2 more left. Who's going to go next? Go ahead, Kristi.
For my message to men, as an Indigenous woman, to all men, but especially to our Indigenous men, I just want you all to know we hear you, we love you, you are wanted, you are needed, and we are ready and willing to help uplift you in any way possible. Again, I think everybody just needs to continue to move forward and opening those healthy spaces for men to be able to talk about emotions, to be able to talk about parenting, culture, all of that, especially for Indigenous men. A lot of that have been lost, so there's an extra feeling of just not knowing, always like in this water of back and forth and not really knowing where home base is. So I just really, really want to hit home today to all our men that we are here, we are listening, we hear you, we love you, and if you need us, just let us know.
And finally, Dr. Dinesh, you close it out.
Yep. I would like to say that never stop fighting for what is right. So this is my suggestion to men, because you have already taken the step to start International Men's Day on a wider scale. You have understood, it is a necessity to address the issues and challenges of men. So my request to each one of you is, like as already been put across, the pandemic being hitting so hard everywhere, please concentrate on better health for men and boys, because intend to make practical improvements to the health and well-being of the male population. This is my request to each and everyone, not only in the panel or everyone out there listening to this conversation, because that will only make the kind of improvements that we are suggesting in the lives of men. So my suggestion, and while wishing them happy International Men's Day to everyone out there, each one of us really would like to tell you, make practical improvements as far as your health and well-being of male population is concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very, very great closing words. I'd like to thank all our panelists today. You were outstanding, and we had an international conversation, which makes it even better. I'll just leave some quick closing comments for men. I encourage every man to have 2 or 3 male friends that know everything good about you and everything bad about you. That is very, very important, because you're going to have moments in your journey, no matter what age you are, that you're going to need that person who knows everything good, but also everything bad. They're going to be, as some guys would say, your ride or die guys. Next up, from the men out there, if you have a challenge, please ask. How many men I'm helping, they're so afraid to ask. And you know something? It's holding back the greatness in a lot of men to just ask for help. And finally, I share this with men especially, but for everyone who's watching this live around the world or on replay, remember to give yourself grace. My name is Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show. Let's give it back to Sivan, who has put this all together. Come on back, Sivan. You have been the magician this week, so please come on the screen.
Hey, no, it's all of us. All of us. I'm really, really grateful for all of you guys. So let me close this thank you note. I really appreciate all of you guys. It is not easy. I believe this week the celebration may give someone hope to someone out there. At least if we can change the somebody's mind, somebody's life in a positive way. That's the whole message or whole matter for everybody. It is my honor and privilege to be part of this great event. I would like to thank each one of you, especially Dr. Jerome, for giving me this opportunity, amazing opportunity to work with IMD. I would like to thank all the speakers, the host, RJ Horner, and Dr. Vibes, especially. Before, a couple of months back, I never thought about this. So here we are, the panelists and the people behind their event, the sponsors, the media, individuals who helped connect with amazing speakers around the world, friends, families, social media platforms, support from unknown sources. There are so many people behind this event. The encouragement, the well wishes, each and everyone. I really appreciate all of you guys, though. Happy International Men's Day. Thank you. See you in the next event. Thank you. Let me play this.